Although my channel isn't focused on natural bodybuilding, I do like to occasionally feature natural or supposedly natural athletes. Also, the one I'm featuring today is Spanish. Many of the people I bring on are from Spain because interestingly we stand out quite a bit in natural bodybuilding. Welcome to another episode of Culturistas Naturales. In today's video, we have Álvaro Bravo. I'm bringing this guy on not just for his impressive competition physique, but also for how he trains. So today we're going to look at both things. I'm going to analyze his physique, his posing, his training, and also whether he's natural. Let's talk about his physique. Let's start with his measurements. He's 1.67 meters tall and at competition weight, he weighs 74 kilograms. In the off-season, he goes up to about 84 kilograms, which doesn't look like he weighs that much. It doesn't look like he weighs more, but of course he's not very tall. 74 kilograms at 1.67 meters means he weighs about 7 kilos above his height in centimeters at this level of conditioning. You can see he's very defined. Honestly, there's hardly anything left to cut. I doubt he could lose more weight. There's almost no fat. Let's begin by discussing just how defined he is. He enjoys joking, comparing himself to the non-naturals, and Álvaro also likes getting into controversies. According to him, according to some things I've seen on his Instagram, he supposedly reached 3% body fat. You already know there's no definitive way to measure this with complete certainty. Honestly, I don't really trust skin fold measurements, bioimpedance, or any of that stuff. But yeah, let's just say his body fat is between 3 and 5% or something like that, which is pretty much the maximum a natural can reach in my opinion. And there's a man I brought up a few months ago, Christopher Palling. I don't know if you remember, but he was even more shredded than Álvaro, but at the cost of being very small. Honestly, that bodybuilder wasn't big at all. I think Álvaro has found a better balance. Mom, this year I'll put up the Christmas tree. He has found a better balance between definition and size without being so shredded, so small. We've already seen that his conditioning carries through his whole physique. He has striated chest, shoulders too, and especially stands out in his back and lower body, where we can see completely shredded glutes, very defined hamstrings, and a spectacular Christmas tree on his back. The back is extremely lean. The abs, the obliques, the quads have side feathering. That's very hard to achieve, but now we have to talk about his size, okay? When he poses alone, in the gym or on stage, he appears bigger than he is because his definition creates that effect, and his slimmer waist makes everything else look wider. That cut vascular look is misleading, but if you notice his head and arm size, which I focus on in naturals, their proportions reveal the truth. Compare him to another natural bodybuilder to show size. Also, I tried the Jorge Tabit thing, putting it in a sock. I don't know why they do these things, but mainly it's so you can see him posing next to other bodybuilders. Here we also have a video. Let's watch a few more so you can compare them. And what I want to say here is that the guy he's big, okay, he's pretty big, but what stands out the most is his extreme definition. Next to other bodybuilders, he doesn't really stand out in size. There's a video I want you to see of him posing with Iniesta, who is exceptional and much bigger. You can clearly see the size difference. Iniesta is noticeably bigger, but it's true that Álvaro has better conditioning. If you look at their legs, there's a big difference. Álvaro is leaner than Iniesta. He weighs quite a bit, even 7 kilos above the weight you'd expect for his height while being defined. But he's not that big or much bigger than the other competitors. What stands out the most is his conditioning. I don't think he has elite genetics in terms of shape and structure. There are other supposedly natural bodybuilders like Kendall and Babacar who do have absurd shapes and proportions, but I don't think Álvaro does. I think he has a structure or a shape, let's say normal, average. I don't think he's super gifted in that sense. Another characteristic of natural bodybuilders is that they don't do extreme diets, okay? They do pretty long controlled diets to avoid losing muscle. You'll see that he eats everything. He eats fat, he eats carbs, protein, and he definitely eats plenty. And look at how he eats. Looking at his diet, you might think it looks great, even similar to many of yours. Natural bodybuilders don't do extreme things like eliminating salt, fat, or similar habits. You don't eat blueberries, Álvaro. Well, I really like you. Why do all diets require blueberries? Jokes aside, let's see how Álvaro trains. 8 to 15 effective sets per muscle group. That's not a super low volume, but it's definitely not high either. But you'll see that the intensity he puts in is insane. He trains with a lot of intensity, really close to failure. He trains with the basics. That's something all naturals usually do, okay? Bench press. His bench is 145. Deadlift. His deadlift is 245 and his squat is 205. He mainly trains with the basics. Multi-joint movements, free weights, of course more isolation exercises, and also some use of machines and cables to fine-tune, right? The details. He does low reps, and here he explains why, okay? He's always talking about the importance of not having too much volume, that it's not effective, that if you don't recover there has to be progressive overload, that you have to train with intensity. He doesn't want to wear himself out because then he won't recover. I want you to see his intensity when training legs because it's the muscle group where it's hardest to push intensity. Your mind doesn't let you, it doesn't want to. It doesn't want you to train with real intensity. You struggle a lot, and that's how he finishes the sets. Watch how he finishes the hack squat. It's a painful exercise, right? What agony. It's just that literally a fly lands. A fly lands on that hack squat and he fails it. I don't think I've mentioned it, but he's been training for 17 years. He's 30. When my triceps used to talk to me. Damn, you see that? That triceps is really defined, huh? People who are on gear usually train with pretty long sets, more for the pump, lighter weights. Sometimes they don't even go close to failure, okay? There are exceptions. Not Darwin. He likes to load up a ton of weight. He trains more like Álvaro does. But generally, that's how they train. Sets of 15 or 20 reps, they add more training volume. They do a ton of sets, and they don't always go to failure. But in natural bodybuilding, people usually train heavier, lower reps. They tend to train more for strength. 17 years of training is a lot. I mean, I'm literally 27, you know? I can't imagine having trained for 17 years. I've been training for 8 and it already feels like a lot. That's something in his favor. He uses controlled tempos and solid technique in every exercise, mastering all controllable variables. Next, we'll discuss his natural or supposed natural status, and I'll share my blunt opinion. But first, please listen.
Natural physique after 16 years. Natural athlete. Improved performance to achieve definition.
He has a natural sounding voice. It's not that typical deep cavernous voice that non-naturals have, or that 15-year-old kids use to try to sound more manly. He has his blood work posted here, okay? But honestly, they're useless. Today, any bodybuilder can get blood work that proves they're natural. Then suddenly, some random guy in a lab coat appears as a doctor. To say, I've been a doctor for 45 years and this can be faked, so this guy isn't natural. Full appeal to authority. So, he's a liar, right? What's the point of blood work if no one will believe it? He's trained for 17 years, which is a long time. He looks big when posing alone, but when he poses next to other people, he doesn't look that remarkable in terms of size, okay? He doesn't look like a monster, he looks human. He's not flat, but he's not excessively full or 3D either. Compared to the non-natural guys whose muscles look like they're popping out, at 1.67 meters, he's short. Like many natural bodybuilders, it helps him look fuller, to look bigger. It's true that his definition is very extreme. But this is exactly the most you can achieve as a natural bodybuilder. Size is difficult. Right away, you're going to lose something. You're going to look flat. Fullness, how full you are, is complicated when you're natural. But we have many cases of naturals who have very extreme definition, although as a result, they end up looking smaller. And in the case of Álvaro, he doesn't have everything. It's not a complete package, right? I would say he has more conditioning than anything else. Taking all these things into account, for me, this bodybuilder could be natural. Does that mean he is? Well, look, I don't know. Only he will know. But he competes in the WMBF. He passes the tests. He shows his test results. We have all these arguments in his favor. Then, from my own experience comparing him with other naturals I've brought to the channel, even with non-naturals, it makes perfect sense to me. And if I had to bet, I would bet that he is. And that's it for this episode about natural bodybuilders. Don't forget to check out the list where the others are. I'll leave it in the description and pinned comment of this video. I'll also link Álvaro's Instagram in the description. That's it. Ares White Equal Turismo signing off. See you next video.